Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for coming back for another podcast episode. Thank you so much to those that are listening via audio, wherever you find your podcast. And thank y'all for those that are watching. Y'all, I have someone on who, listen, y'all know I love to give flowers and just say what goes on behind the scenes. Sometimes you get in these social media spaces and people, they say social media is bad or social media can poison all of us, which to a degree, I get that. But for me, social media has been a great space. And I met this person, which if y'all are watching, y'all can see his beautiful face. I think about a year and a half ago, we met in comments and DMs, and then we it's almost like dating, but for friends. So then we moved to the phone number phase, and then we text like almost every day. And then he's been on the podcast. This is his fourth time. He is the official We Go podcast / YouTube correspondent. It was this person and DJ Richie Sky that were literally on me about starting a YouTube. I would get texts from this person like, so you need my help? When are you ready to start? I think now would be a good time. Oh, okay. Well, and he would carry on as if it was already started. He really, really, really always supportive. He is a writer. I say he is a producer. Y'all, he looks good enough to be an actor, but I won't throw that on here yet. He's probably a future podcast host. But best of all, he's just an amazing person all around. Carlos J. Harris.
Hey, thank you so much for having me again. I'm excited. We were talking before we pressed
Yes.
record, so I'm like, let me hold something back. And so, because we could talk and text all day.
All day. And the voice notes. And it's funny because
Oh,
there's a
thank
few of
you.
y'all that I will text, and y'all know that I'll be using voice note, especially when I'm like driving, like with passengers or whatever. And I'll sometimes look back at the message and be like, this is crazy. But I always tell y'all, you speak Korea, so you know exactly what I'm trying to say. No
Yeah.
explanation needed. So I first want to start out by asking, how are you? Like I said, Carlos is a writer. He just had an article come out, like his second one, I believe, right?
Yeah,
I
second
need you to
cover.
tell everybody the
Yeah,
name of the magazine, the article, what it was about,
of
everything.
course, of course. What was that, 2 weeks ago? Yeah,
It was
time has
about 2 weeks
flown.
ago.
My second cover story for Swerve magazine came out. It was the 15th anniversary of the House of Garcon. The House of Garcon is a ballroom home, and it's within ballroom. And I basically interviewed some subjects, interviewed some voguers, designers, runway people. Runway was grand prize for 10K. What's it? No,
Wow.
11K.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
11K.
yeah.
Don't quote me. Yeah. But yeah, that was my second cover story, and my third cover story is coming up pretty soon. I can't give that away, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So I cannot say anything else because I'm sworn to secrecy. But yeah, so
Because I
that's
was
my
getting
third.
ready to ask, but I will be texting you.
Yes, yes, and I'm very happy. So this 2024 is starting out great.
It
Starting out
is.
great.
It
So yeah,
really is. You're
I'm
doing big
excited.
things. And you notice that I keep putting titles on you. I'll be like,
I
he's this.
know, I know, I know. But it's a lot that goes into podcasting and being on YouTube. I
It
watch
is.
Richie, and sometimes even like my buddy Chris, he has to give a caveat before he reviews
Oh,
Potomac. He's like, "This is my opinion,
yes.
XYZ," and then when I watch Richie, he'll say things. Oh, people will comment, and I'll look. It's like people, this is their personal opinion. Like it's okay to have opinions, and I think sometimes some of the viewers, just like a fraction of the viewers, they run from podcast to podcast or YouTuber to YouTuber to kind of see if they're speaking their language, quote unquote.
Yes.
And it's not. It's like, well, you hate this person. It's like no, like everyone doesn't have to like your faith. It's
Yes.
all like stan culture has literally infiltrated Bravo and
Yes.
housewifedom and everything.
I mean, even rap
And
back in the rap game,
this has
Barb's and
been
Hotties.
the first the first 72 hours. I woke up I woke up Saturday morning back home in LA. I said, did she take a break? Because I'm scrolling. Did she take a break? Because I can't. I get okay. It's a lot. Like how Mary do. It's a lot going on.
It's a lot going on.
It's a
Like,
lot.
I was like getting into Nikki for a minute, whether you're a Barb, whether you're a Hottie, whether you're a fan of both.
Yeah.
the amount, it almost like I've had fleeting moments of that manic type energy before where you're like, something is going on and you want to, but it's never been to that level. And again, it's been very fleeting. That right there, I almost felt sorry for her. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what is going on. And then for her to drop this diss track, and even her own barbs are like, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And to the point where they're now, her barbs are doxing people.
Did you? Yes.
And who, and you see that one video, the TikToker of the girl, she says, well, y'all can come here. I live in Alabama. We have, what's the right to carry? She
Yeah.
said, I have three German Shepherds. She's like, they're going to pull up on the wrong person.
Pull up,
The
even
wrong.
I didn't agree with Moniece from Love and Hip Hop when she was like, "Oh, I don't know if you've seen it, but Moniece was saying how she feels like the parents of Megan from Megan's Law should take every dime of this of
Mhm.
Megan's
No.
song. Oh yeah, take every dime and sue her and all of that." Okay, I don't agree with you, but that's as far as it went. Maybe talking to friends, right? Talking about it here.
Yeah.
She got back on the internet screaming because people were threatening to R and hurt her and her kids.
See, that's
That
too
is
much.
it's too
Like,
much. And I
it's too
haven't
much.
confirmed it yet. Have you seen it?
Uh,
I was listening to, I want to say it was Jamie. That's me. I love her. And I
mhm.
think it was her. She did a live, and I'm pretty sure in her live, someone said there was a video. And again, I can't confirm this. So I'm going to say allegedly because I haven't looked
Yeah.
at it yet because I don't think Jamie had seen it yet either. Of girls dancing on her mom's grave.
I don't even, I can't even fathom believing that. I
I
can't.
said that's the kind
That's
of thing.
too
Like I was thinking about the other day, and this may sound really ghetto and really bad, right? But I was
much.
like, and just hear me for a minute, okay? When people say you're too old to fight, or you too like in my mind, a part of me was like, what's wrong with fighting? I mean, again, I know there's something wrong with there's a part of
Yeah.
me that was like,
Things happen. I'm just not,
things
I don't,
happen, and I'm not going
things
to judge
happen.
somebody. And that would make me want
Yeah.
to pull up. You're dancing on
Yeah.
my mom's grave over a song. You don't even know this person that you're defending.
Yeah.
Like, are
And
you
Nikki
crazy?
wouldn't save you. She wouldn't save you. That's all I'm saying. She
She's
wouldn't
not
save
gonna
you.
save you. Yeah, it's like, and
Yeah.
there was another person that Jamie talked about where she did see this. Uh, Barb's were going into this lady's DMs, like basically saying that they were gonna dox her, and she was like, "While you're pulling my IP address, I can have yours pulled too." And then they started sending her voice notes and she uploaded them and the person was crying like, "I'm only this old and my grandma would be so upset and I won't be able to get into college." That
You are kidding
yeah,
me.
you need to learn a lesson. I said these are the same teeny boppers that's running into Sephora fighting over drunk elephant and all kinds of face
That's
products.
that phenomenon. I was so blown away. I'm like, why are 10 where's the parents?
What
Where is the like 10?
my kids are 26. My 26-year-old is a little different, but even then she still had gorgeous to me baby face skin. 26, 22, and 19. And I tell them use the basics until you don't have to. You know what I mean? You don't have to.
All all I have to say is this. All I have to say is this. Okay. Okay, so as you know, it's Paris week, Paris Fashion Week. And I opened my TikTok the other day and video upon video upon video. 'Cause I follow a lot of dermatologists, a lot of skincare,
Okay.
experts and things, pop culture experts. Everyone was bugging out over Kylie Jenner's face because we're so used to seeing it so airbrushed and so, tanned out. And now that she's no longer using tanner because she realized that era didn't get her nothing, didn't benefit her, she's, back to her authentic self, but with injections and fillers and over and where the filler kind of migrates under the eyes. So everyone's gagging. Everyone's like, wait, that's her? And it's kind of sad and it's very it's a sign of the times with
Yeah.
this whole like beauty industry and how like beauty industry has kind of infiltrated tweens and teens.
Yes.
Like when I was a teenager, all I had was I don't know what not
That's what I had. So you Noxzema probably. Yeah, that was really big for a while. Noxzema.
yeah, and yeah, and it's something so basic.
Yep.
But now it's like you're introducing these heavy products to these kids with a lot of chemicals. Skin is still fresh. I'll never forget, I had tried Chanel under eye cream in my early 20s.
Hmm.
I had burns, little small burns under here. Yeah, because it was highly concentrated, and I was in my 20s.
Oh my gosh.
And that was 20 years ago. So, yeah. So,
That
yeah,
it
I learned then, I learned the hard way. I said, oh, this isn't for me. This is for someone with premature, I'm not premature, with mature skin.
yes, yes, yes.
So, yeah, so it's like, why are you introducing yourself to all of these heavy, unnecessary products? You know, it's weird.
I
It's
have
so weird.
I have my kids using CeraVe. And
Oh,
then
yeah,
if
I
they
love.
have like a pimple or something, maybe some Neutrogena with the salicylic acid, and I tell them, keep your
Mhm.
face a little bit damp and throw on a little bit of CeraVe lotion and a tiny, tiny bit of Vaseline on top because that's a sealer and keep it moving.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. It's I less is more.
Yeah.
Less is more, especially for like less
Listen,
less is
I had
more.
somebody asking me, could I see my license? I was like, no, you're going to have to trust that I'm the age that I'm telling you I am.
That happened to me last night. I went to the grocery store to get some cough medicine, and I was self checkout, and the little thing
Yes.
comes on. So the guy walks over to me, tall guy, and he said, "I see your ID," and just not without even blinking or thinking, I was like, I'm in my 40s, and he said, "Huh?" I said, "Yeah," and he's like, "I see your ID." So I showed him, and he looked. He said, "Wow, well, my coworkers, I tell them I'm 29, they can't believe it." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
And I was like, I didn't want to be, I didn't, he had a head full of grit. I didn't want to be fake, but oh, I don't see.
Right.
But
Because,
I was like,
oh,
yeah.
okay.
I was like, oh, okay, well, can I get a bag, please?
Yes, God bless. Is it 10 cents for the bag? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I was like, wait, you're checking my ID? Like, I don't look like I'm 18 years old. Like, but I
Yeah,
get it. But
yeah.
it was so funny. But yeah, it happened. Yeah. Less is more.
Less is
Less
more.
is
Even
more.
as we're older, I am learning to mix high-low products and still,
Oh
because
yeah.
as your skin changes, what works for my face, what doesn't, what this, what's that. I've been into skincare since I was like probably 13, and Noxzema was my first
Mhm.
thing too. Like I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, my face belongs to Noxzema and the Noxzema girl, all that. What was
And
her
it
name?
was
Rebecca
easy.
Gay something.
Rebecca Gayheart. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
hmm
yeah.
She's
Yes.
a model. She was on the stories. Ooh, telling my
And
age. But
what was that show? What was it? Urban something where she's in the big
Urban
park
Legend.
and
Urban Legend.
she waves.
hmm That was a good movie. That was such a
That
good
oh, those
movie.
are the days. No, I'm not gonna say that. Those were the days, and we have great new days coming.
Yes, we
Speaking
do.
of new days coming, Carlos and I,
hmm
y'all have been having a conversation. And we're just going to hit on some points here. We've been having a conversation about a show that we all know and um, I'll say still have love for, a modicum of love for me. I have not been watching it because it's been making my blood boil. But we talked about a little show that you all may know with varying degrees of melanin called The Real Housewives of Potomac. Carlos, you're in MD now, right? You're in Maryland now?
Yes,
Yes, because
yes.
we're
And
we're going to meet up
you're
before you leave. Yes.
mhm,
So we
the
are both
Housewives of Potomac.
we are both in Maryland, and we've been having discussions about Potomac. And I asked Carlos this, and if y'all remember, I asked Brooke when she was on her episode. And by the way, if you listen to that episode, and she said we talked about a person named Carlos, and she said, "Oh, I love Carlos." This is the Carlos that we
I
were
love this
speaking
movie.
about. So shout out to Brooke, but I asked her a question because I needed a different answer than what Carlos gave me because Carlos will give you the hard truth and make you see things. And I'm like, no, I don't want to see it. I asked him and I asked Brooke the question with such spotlight put on Potomac in a negative way. And I don't necessarily want to say negative only because it's opened up the door to conversation to people who may not know what colorism is, who may not know any of that brown paper bag test, all of that. But I asked Brooke and Carlos, do you think with the noise of Essence magazine, a huge publication. Essence has been, I know, a part of both of our lives since the time we were probably born.
Mm,
Essence, Ebony
yeah.
Jet. Do you think that will cause some conversation at the network and maybe some changes that we might be surprised about put in place? Brooke gave me the answer I wanted, which was yes. She thinks there's
Mhm.
hard conversations going on. Carlos said, uh-uh. So explain why you don't think so. And I think it's a combination, honestly, of both answers. I already know your answer, and I agree with what you're saying, and I agree with what Brooke's saying, but it just could be different people than who I'm thinking
Yeah,
of. So what do you think?
yeah. You know, when we have this conversation, I always tell you I look at the bigger picture,
Yes.
the totality of all the moving parts in it. I do think conversations were had. I
Yeah.
do think Andy read it. I do think for the original read it, of course. I do think people at NBC Universal read it.
Uh-huh.
Now, with that said, does that move the needle to the point where there's a shakeup? Yes. How many people will exit or shift into friend roles? I keep going back and forth, but I can say Giselle Bryant is not going nowhere because, and we've had this, our last conversation was about
Mhm.
Giselle and her power on the show. She has power on the show. We're not even going to say she act like she doesn't.
Yeah.
Giselle is in charge of the girls. This is school days all over again. Okay.
Ooh, school days.
Yes. And what I told you, there's a lot of pretty people in the world, a lot, but everyone doesn't have star quality. And Bravo and Andy, they try to put star quality on her, and she's not. She's pretty. Yes, that's all. It's for, the people keep bringing up that factor. I don't care.
Yes, yes.
I'm
That's
gonna stop. I mean, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of pretty people, but she doesn't have star quality. Carrie Huger
yeah,
has star quality.
she
No
does.
shade.
Yes.
Let you cannot when they flash back what last episode where like season one and they were
Yes,
going
I
back and
did
forth.
see.
You got to give Karen her flowers. Karen has really elevated, and you know, I always say people. I have my issues with Karen, but Karen is in on the joke, and with Giselle being such a negative force this season, she has not only hurt the show, but she's helped Karen elevate even more. So
Mm.
many people now see Karen as that nucleus of the show because she can go between two groups. So Giselle is saying, Karen is saying, I do not see Robin staying, not
Me
even in a
neither.
friend role.
Me
I
neither.
don't. I think her story has come full circle, and I think Bravo brought her back thinking that they were going to like pounce and wear her thin, but Robin, I mean, her tagline is she doesn't care,
Yes,
and
and
she
that's
keeps
just that.
telling us, "I don't." It's like, well, why are you here? You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
What else? Mia. Okay, so that's Giselle, Karen, Mia staying. I don't see Wendy staying.
I
I
feel
don't.
I don't know.
A lot of people don't care for Wendy.
I know. I know. And I think it's
It's so.
interesting that a lot of people I took into consideration her first season. You don't know what you're getting into. So people were like, her
Yeah.
first season, she talked about her degrees, her degrees. That was only one aspect of her. And we may just be
Yeah.
seeing the other aspects of Wendy.
And I do agree, and I think so. And Wendy said it herself. She, whatever she did in her career for school, she did for her parents.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is a platform she wants to explore and figure out who Wendy Osefo, Dr. Wendy Osefo, is. And she's doing that on camera. And I think people are like, well, she was Candle this season, and she's Restaurant with Peter, and now it's this. So I think viewers are frustrated, but at the same time, we've watched uh, everybody else go through Robin with hats, and
A
so it's
real,
like
it
we're not even going to
wasn't
be, we not,
she a real, I'm sorry, she was going to buy a truck she was going to get into
yeah,
trucking a couple seasons ago.
home renovations. Remember
Yes.
the when Giselle acted a fool, then it
Yep.
was hats, and then it was something else,
The
and now
tractor
it's
trailer.
so
Remember
everybody
when
else
they went
can,
to do that?
yeah. So everybody else can explore. So it's like people gotta. It's like okay, yes, that's true about Wendy, but Robin been here longer, and Robin been jumping occupations every other season, but no one says anything.
Yeah.
No one.
No one, not, and it's
Yeah.
interesting how the consensus that I'm hearing, and I'm just going to be honest, in the different parts of social media that I'm in, even with the
Hmm.
different podcasters that I've listened to, varying um, shades of color, from white
Hmm.
people to Black people, what I
Hmm.
hear when they talk about Giselle and Ashley
Hmm.
is they're so pretty. Candace's mouth
Yeah.
is so reckless. Wendy doesn't talk about her degrees anymore. Wendy doesn't know who she is. And I
Yeah.
think it's interesting that the discussion about two, maybe three, Robin, those people are that they're just so pretty. And I
But
remember, well, I'm talking to
mhm.
someone and they were like, I forget all the stuff that Ashley has done because she's just so pretty.
Yeah. But remember, I always say people see humanity in things that are like them visually.
Oh, that's true. You do say, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
I said that. I think that was my first appearance on the show. I
Yep.
said people, I understand why they align with him,
Yeah.
just by default because sight unseen, they're closer to whiteness and Caucasian people than they are black. That's just that's reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
That's
not
reality.
like I'm not even about to play that. I have people in my family, so it's like I'm not even about to play these games with these audience people and be like, no, 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 I'm not, I'm not. But have you noticed there is a concerted effort to get Candace off? They are replaying that one clip
That one
where she
clip.
says, "You sit there with your white-looking ass," but she does look white. We are not. It's like she's saying they keep replaying it as if Candace is lying, as if our eyes aren't
Aren't showing
deceiving us.
us. Yes.
And Giselle said it herself in season one. It's like,
Yes, she did. And she even said her children thought she was white. She, again, I'm going to say it again for anybody
yeah.
that has heard it. Great. Y'all know. But when something resonates with me, when they were on their podcast months ago with Carlos King, and she said
Mm-hmm.
Potomac was successful, she thought because the world hadn't seen light skinned green eyed bandits. So she
Mm-hmm.
puts currency on her skin. Portia, when they were on the girls' trip,
Yeah.
said the same thing Candace said, but differently. They were getting ready to go into,
Yeah.
she said something about being in a hot tub all night long, Giselle. And Portia was like, the white girl. And you a white black girl. She said that to her.
Yeah. And going back to what you said, where Giselle and her kids thought she was white, I thought I was white. I asked my mom, I think I was maybe 4 or 5.
Wow.
I'm a grown kid. I asked, I was like, "Am I white?" She's like, "No." It's like you're black because it's like kids see a color
Yes.
difference.
Yes.
I was raised with her, and now, of course, I knew my dad's family and all that stuff. But it was like I was with her, and I looked at them, and I was like, "Well, wait, what?" Like I was
Right.
confused. So she told me. So yeah, kids, race is a visual language.
Mm.
Phenotype is a visual
Yeah.
language. People, society treat you how they view you.
Mm. Wow. Society treats you how they view you. I agree.
So I'm not going to sit here and say and kind of like play laxy daisy with information and facts. So, oh no, I don't benefit. I've never. No, like come on. It's like Carlos, come on. I'm not even playing. So it's like when I look at them and feign ignorance, it's like you have got to be kidding me.
Mhm.
They know this, but it's the ego. And if Giselle admits it, Candace, she see it in her mind. Candace will win.
Yes, yes. And even Candace doing her interview with Angela Yee saying, I'm willing to have a conversation and move forward. That is, it's, although some of us may not want it, or so, let's be honest, for the good of
Mm-mm.
the show, it's needed. And that is a mature way of thinking. Like you said, Giselle to me has a school days mindset where she thinks she's the head HBIC on the
Yeah.
yard of the in charge of the sorority hazing the girls. I remember her best friend in real life, Erica Lyles, said when she
Mm-hmm.
first met Giselle, she showed up to Giselle's apartment. I think she was pledging, and Giselle slammed the door in her face. She said Giselle was mean. Her kids have
Mm-hmm.
said that. I do believe that when you look at the history of the show, Robin and Giselle, yes, they were friend. They weren't as good of friends before the show as they are now, but
Oh
they
no.
ran in the same
Mm-mm.
circles. But they clicked right back up. Giselle knew Karen, they clicked back up. Ashley gave them hell. And then what did she do? She ended up acquiescing. Monique
Yes.
was coming for them. But then what did she end up
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
Acquiescing. Mia, you want to go to lunch
Mm-hmm.
with me? I'll put you in touch with my assistant. But what happened? She ended up acquiescing. Wendy
Mm-hmm.
and Candace have not acquiesced, whether you like them or not. When you look at the show's format, Giselle hasn't been able to haze them. Remember the season? It was they were doing what is it that the after show? And
Uh-huh.
Giselle says, I saw Candace's mom, and she said
Mm-hmm.
she still wants me to pay for her a house. And her and Robin, literally, you can hear it. They were going, they were laughing at it. So Candace then tweets, you and your $900,000 teardown. Worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
The next season starts off with what? Giselle having a sit down with Candace and wanting an apology. But did you apologize for either? Because from what Miss Dorothy says, she didn't say that. So for
Mm-hmm.
lying or for even bringing that to the after show?
Yeah.
No. And I just think it's to for Giselle to expect that she's running the yard. I mean, it just it annoys me that as soon as somebody comes back at her with a little more than
Mm-hmm.
she can give, now all of a sudden they're enemy number one.
And let me say this, the way when she said, I think it was, she was talking to NECA, and she said, those girls, oh, you're going with those girls. She,
Mm,
okay, I'm gonna say this. When I look at her and when she's interacting or, ignoring Wendy or Candace, or the fact that she's taken such a stance with their reaction to her,
mm.
because they never started, it's almost as if, like, how dare these brown women give me the energy. But even though I gave them the energy they have every right to, but how dare they? Because when you name those women who folded and joined the clique, Mia is the only person she's ever apologized to.
Yes.
Ever, 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 ever. And I told you, I said, because she sees herself in Mia. Because
Mm.
Mia is another light skinned woman.
You are so right. Mia is the only person that she apologized to.
Yeah.
And then she apologized, and then Mia acquiesced. And remember when they were having a sleepover at Candace's townhouse and she was in her Versace robe because it was not either. And she was like, don't you ever do that again. But then again, she still apologized. They still apologized to Mia at that. I
Yeah.
just, and to me, and everybody's different. I don't get offended. And I know you don't either. We don't get
Hmm.
offended by jonesing or the insults. People use words. I know I've used words and could use words and have to be like, so I don't get
Yeah.
offended by the comeback. I mean, I don't get offended by somebody going after somebody and by the person's response. I just said you can't dictate
Hmm.
someone's response to you. But I'm looking, and I guess there's no way to quantify it because it's all in how the person feels. So if I came at you one way, and let's say Richie came at you one way, and Rodney came at you one way, and Brooke, you may only get offended by what I say. And people may say,
Yeah.
that wasn't as harsh. But so I guess we can't quantify it that way. But at the same time, Karen said you had a hot box,
Hmm.
had to
Hmm.
check yourself into Sing Sing. And allegedly, and those
Hmm.
Giselle had checked herself into a mental, almost like
Hmm.
a rejuvenation type place when she found out that Jamal, again, allegedly had cheated on her, which is why her dad did not come to the wedding. So it's like she's using your real tea because Karen even, and what confirmed it for me was when Karen was on Watch What Happens Live and Andy said something about, brought it up, the Sing Sing. She said,
Hmm.
he said, that's jail. She goes, oh, I thought it was a mental.
Hmm.
And
Yeah. And she can play into that. She
yeah.
can play it's I swear, back to visual language. She can play into the I thought she can play into it.
You're right.
A Candace can't. A Wendy can't.
Yeah.
Karen has, along with her, that Grand Dame moniker and the whimsy that Mia has kind of taken on as well.
Mhm.
She can. Everyone knew what Karen meant, but
Yes.
Karen knew she didn't want to go. She didn't want to respectfully go that deep into it and get
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah.
So I understand that. So again, Karen can play up. Certain women are allowed to play up things or play down their intelligence. We know that. I don't even got to go. We know that. I'm about to
Mhm.
turn this to a sociology class.
Yes.
We know that. While others they can't. They get the well. Why did it? It's like that's not fair. And I do feel I don't know. It's like the tide is turning with Candace. I've noticed with a lot of people, where it's like, why are you still wanting to be their friend when
Yeah.
they're treating you like crap? And I'm like, I get it. It's a cute check. It's a
Yeah.
platform. Yes, you have a career, a singing career. You have, shows on Bravo, Bravo, not Bravo,
Beats is
BET Plus.
BT plus, yeah.
Yes, you have shows on there. I get it. I get it. But it's like a hostile work environment.
Yes. And that's when someone is icing you out, you can feel it. And again, there's
Yeah.
other instances on the show of this happening. I keep going back to season 5 when they were at Ashley Sip and See, and Monique said Candace needs to be on ice, and they were going to ice her out. I mean, think
Yeah.
about the hot mic, and Rodney just brought this up. And I remember the beginning of season 5 and the whole thing when I was telling
Uh-huh.
people, y'all are literally overlooking that it was a plot that Monique was in on when the hot mic caught Monique and Candace talking. And Monique says, I had to. I had to. And Candace was like, if you didn't want her there, you could have just told me that. And she's like, I had to.
Mhm.
I'll talk to you about it later. So it's like we know that
Mhm.
there has been plotation after plotation. And it's interesting
Mhm.
that I notice that people will say with Wendy, that's what you get for siding with the Green Eyed Bandits during the fight. I think she sided with her friend. She came in through Candace. If
Yeah.
you brought me into a show and you got
Mhm.
into a tussle,
Exactly.
I'm siding with you.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm so glad you brought that up, and Rodney brought it up too, because people seem to think the season opener to season 5 was the barn episode. It's like they forgot
Yes.
everything that was before. Like, there was like 8, 9 episodes before the barn episode. And I think, Monique wanted to be in the fold, and her Hazel Lee, aka Light Eyes, gave her some cachet with the Green Eye Bandits, and with her
Wait,
features slender. What?
I have to say this. Remember when her and Giselle had kind of got into it, and
Uh-huh.
Giselle and her skin color hue and her eyes said, I want to pluck
Uh-huh.
those fake contacts out of her eyes.
Ooh.
Why would they were? I think they were going up they were at an event. I don't know if it was Katie's event, and there was a
Uh-huh.
staircase. And Giselle said something about Monique's contacts or her contacts. Now, why would you assume that they were contacts? Because she was a brown skin
Mm.
girl. Because my husband has
Yeah.
the same color eyes, so that's why I'm like, and
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that people would.
That's exactly. She's telling herself. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because even though on the spectrum, Monique benefits because of the eyes and her features. She's
Mhm.
slender, so she benefits from like featureism. She
She's
falls on
the
a
pretty
higher scale.
black girl, basically.
Yes,
That's
yes, and now, yeah, and so it's like and I think that's why she thought she had way more cachet with Giselle than she thought she did. And I forgot about that comment, but I
Mhm.
do remember she did say that. Isn't
Isn't that crazy?
that's
It's like
crazy.
I think other black people, if you're paying attention, you pick up
Yeah.
on that stuff. There's a reason why people think that people my hue or darker, if we
Hmm.
have light eyes, that they're contacts. There's a reason. I remember
True.
when I was pregnant with my son and people saying, "Oh, I hope he has your husband's eyes because they're like honey colored
Wow.
eyes." Yeah.
Mhm.
It's my husband, his two brothers have them, and then his younger sister has, and then his other two sisters have
Mm.
brown eyes. But it was, and I remember growing up, I remember telling my mom, I wish that my eyes were different. They were just basic. And she said, your eyes are beautiful. You have eyes that look just like mine. They're shaped like mine. And I never
Mm.
forgot that. It was like, I like my brown eyes. So
Yeah.
speaking of Monique, and I will say, Monique,
Mhm.
well, I want you to get into it. Y'all, Carlos has a
Yes.
solution for Potomac. And I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
tell y'all, when he first told me, my butt clenched, and then I had to be like, so
I am not doing it with you today.
my
Get
cheeks were
away from
like
me.
this. And I was like, unclench your jaw and unclench your cheeks and listen to what this man is saying. So
Okay.
let us know how we can fix Potomac.
Okay. I don't know how I came. Oh, it was something that happened, of course, on Potomac, and I was talking to you and my buddy Chris, and I think Rotten needs a voice as well. And I said, you know what? A lot of darkness is going on. People don't know if the show's coming or going, who's staying, who's going. I think for the show itself to move on and for the audience to see the cast move on. I think Andy, somebody at NBC Universal, needs to call Monique Samuels, have Monique come on the show, not back on the cast. God Almighty, because I keep seeing those tweets. Come on the show. Her and Candace do a sit down, hash it out. They each say their piece, walk away. And I think if they verbally say, we're closing this chapter, and the audience sees it, the audience can move on with it because season 5 has not left. That energy has not
You're
left.
right.
It's been dark. And what did I say the last time when the trailer came out? I was like, it's darkness. That
Yeah.
Three's Company coming up on my door. I wasn't here for it.
No.
I said, oh, this is darkness. It's darkness. It's darkness. And what happened? What happened?
You're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
I said, oh no, you can't
You're
fool me.
Yeah, you're right. It's a different type of energy. It's not that fun. There's the clown
No.
with Karen and Giselle. It's not that fun type energy. And
Yes, it's not. And honestly, people forget that, right before it premiered, I think Bryce Sander on ET, he interviewed Candace, and Candace out her mouth said, this is worse than season 5. No
yes,
one's, I was like, I feel like I was the only one that saw that. So when she said that, I said, for her to say that and she got into a physical fight,
right.
I said, oh, okay,
Here we go.
okay. And as you know, sometimes emotional abuse or hostile work environment that weighs heavy on you worse than a physical fight because you internalize that you're like, damn, like these people really hate me. Like that's not fun. I don't care how
No.
much money you're making. That's not fun.
And I
It's
think
not.
I can even see because in spite of how I felt about Monique, and it had nothing to do with the fight, it was when she first came on, just feelings that I had. But I will say this:
Hmm.
when they had that sit down with her, I absolutely hated it. I'm like, you don't do this in front of an audience that doesn't look like you. Because even though I wasn't in this space, I was in the
Yeah.
world and there were white people talking about Potomac. Um,
Hmm.
Rachel Lindsay, when she was on here, she said she moderated the Potomac panel, and all you saw in the
Yeah.
audience were white faces.
That's
How
the
great is
main.
that going to be?
That's
Because
the main. But honestly, yeah.
so when
That's a huge challenge.
yeah, so they have this conversation in front of an audience that doesn't look like them. I didn't agree with the conversation anyway, because to put being a black woman and how we carry ourselves on the weight of one black woman's shoulders. But I believe from then on, what you're saying about the hostile work environment that Candace is facing now, I believe Monique had to deal with that as well. Not just icing her out, but you're putting the onus of black representation on the show. And to me, when I talk about what's wrong with fighting, even though, of course, I know we're not going to hear, I would
Yeah.
rather, I mean, people fist fighting is one thing, but when you're talking about your husband made me go into a room, there's rumors of your husband cheating, calling Chris big boy when he's expressed to you that he didn't like that. And normally black men may call each other that, but to me, when I hear boy, I know what I automatically think of. So it's like to I and also I've expressed she had to sit down with the woman who she know couldn't stand her and was talking about all to get back at Candace to get on the good foot, as Nikki said, get on your good foot, to get on your good foot
Yeah.
with them. But also, and I was talking to DJ Richie about this because he's good friends with her. I started thinking about it from her perspective. No, I don't agree with how she handled Candace in terms of siding with them because that was the majority, but she wanted to keep, let's be honest, she liked about Monique
Yeah.
like being on the show. However, looking at looking at Giselle thinking she holds the power. Monique was not going to go. Monique is not a Candace. So she wasn't going to go back and forth with her. And even Candace and all her back and forth is still willing to have a conversation. Monique wasn't going to do that. And she wanted to keep her job. So I
Yeah.
understood, like looking back now, I understood that, while at the same time, her clearly pointing out to Wendy, you're next. And
Yeah.
look what
Yeah.
happened.
It's almost eerie how on the nose Monique was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still waiting for the footage of Giselle spazzing out on season 5 reunion.
Because
It never
Monique said
aired.
it, Wendy said it.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you
She cried
remember?
and boohoo.
Go back and watch the reunion before the binder
Mm-hmm.
and then look at
Oh, she
after.
looked different. Oh,
She looks so different. And I remember giving
yeah,
her
yeah.
props like, that's right, Giselle, don't respond, let it go. And it was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, but I believe it. Do you remember at BravoCon last year when they aired Watch What Happens Live? Andy then went on
Mm-hmm.
his radio show and said in real time, because it was the Watch What Happens live at the BravoCon. Again, not this past year, but last year, he made a joke about the set and about Giselle's outfit. And he
Uh-huh.
said she
Yeah,
caught him going off. And so they cut it from the televised version.
because they are, Bravo protects their people.
Yeah.
You know, the ones they value.
Yes.
They're A people. They're A list. They're MVPs. You
Yes.
know, the Kyles, um, the Kyles, the Giselles.
Yeah.
I can't say anyone else
Me
right
neither.
now.
Me neither.
You know, you don't need to say Starless. It's a lot. It's you know, in the running, you know, a Dr. Nicole, but when it comes to who they see as the marquee sign on Potomac, Beverly Hills, it's, you know, oh, Teresa. Oh my God,
Oh yeah,
Teresa.
oh
Oh,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I just,
yeah.
as much as I don't care for Giselle and Robin and their actions, like you said, I agree. The audience
Mhm.
needs to see them moving forward. And I would almost be okay. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this. Oh,
Right.
if they had a real sit down and a real we're moving on, and she came back on the show and was her real self, because I always felt like she played up for
Yeah.
the cameras and stuff, like she played up that, I can't believe I live, on the same street as the Redskins owner or something like that. But
Mm.
I do believe if she was her authentic Jersey self, she was only 40 minutes from where she grew up, 40 minutes from where I was. And I know someone who worked closely with people who know her and went to like high school with her. And they were watching the show
Uh-huh.
like, but if her and Candace and
Hmm.
Wendy, and then of course Karen, um, if they could, and I hate to say it like, because it sounds like a plotation, in the words of Richie, to like not necessarily take Giselle down, but keep your foot on their neck. Like everybody have fun, get love, but when Giselle comes with something, y'all come right back with no fear of losing your job.
I think she wouldn't be able to take it. I don't think she would. She couldn't take it. She would leave.
Well, yeah, because
Mommy, I mean, Giselle would leave. Giselle would leave.
she's now talking about she can't be around Wendy and Candace for her safety.
I
You
don't think
you
they.
are the most
they
unsafe one on that cast.
you can say, you know, it's giving very these brown girls, these brown women. I don't feel safe. I can't trust their actions. Those people. I said, oh, word. She is telling us.
Yes, yes. It's like catching all
I
the
said,
like what?
oh, okay. This is what we do. Oh, okay,
Yeah. For your
okay.
safety. You can't, and y'all, let's be
Mm.
clear. We know where the word Karen originated from and who we normally would depict, but there are black ones too.
And when you think of the phrase "those people,"
I know
so
what I
because
think of.
'cause I predict at the reunion, you know, Andy gets his card. For Giselle, John Q. Public from Idaho wants to know, what did you mean when you said those people? Oh, I was just no, we're not. It's like, and that's where she gets to like rest in, you know, the aesthetics and stuff. And like, oh well, I just they're people, right? Like, girl, we know what you mean because you have benefited from the very things that you're visually closest to. We're not gonna play these games.
Yes. And
So,
also, someone was like, "What do you?" So I saw a commentary back and forth about Giselle, and
mhm.
Giselle doesn't hold back pieces of her life. I said, we watched last season. Andy said, talk about the surgery and the fibroids, and what did she say? We'll talk about that later. Told her boss, and he said, no, we'll talk about it now. And we also know she doesn't perform at reunions, so she may be funny
Mm-mm.
professionals or what have you, but she doesn't have, to me, it's the aesthetic. Like you said, yes, she can be funny, get
Yeah.
off a couple of one-liners. But when you think about the things she has said, and then I look at how
Hmm.
people say Candace doesn't take accountability. And I'll never forget the first time I heard someone say this was Rodney. He said Candace does take accountability. She sat at that reunion last season when Giselle tried to give her a pass and say, you're not there. And she said, I'm very well aware of what I'm saying to you. I'm taking accountability for the things I say. I'm not apologizing. Accountability and apologizing are two different things. I can stand
Yeah.
on business and say, this is what I said, and I meant
Yeah.
every word, versus me doing something to you. And I'm like, you know what? I'm genuinely sorry. I'm not sorry for defending myself.
Yeah. And it's almost as if her lack of reaction is she's almost like, yeah, I hate the term gaslighting, but it's almost like Candace wants she wants to make Candace question herself, like, wait,
Yeah, yeah.
am I the person? Because Giselle just sits there. She gives nothing,
Nothing.
reunion after reunion. And from what everyone tells us, the reunions are the do or die. You got to perform. You got
Yeah.
to hustle for your check. But
Yeah.
she gets to sit there and just rest on the couch and look cute, quote unquote cute, and just do nothing.
Do nothing.
What can somebody pull me a top three, not even five, top three reunion moments from Giselle? That's not Vonda related because that's Monique.
Yeah.
No one, no one, no one, no you can't even no one can even tell me three reunion moments from
Right.
Giselle. Three. But yet she gets to just glide by. But this is the monster that they created.
Yeah.
They created Mimi Leak the last couple of years when she came back and she
Yes.
gave everybody her ass a kiss. They create these monsters. I don't think, especially with uh reality reckoning, I don't think they're making that mistake again. I just don't see it. I just don't see
Okay.
them creating these stars like that because once you pump all of that energy and force behind them, they can turn on you and be another Bethany Frankel who just
Yes.
won't freaking leave you alone, you know?
Right. That's
And
true.
yeah, so again, Giselle's not going nowhere. She's not. She'll be gone when she wants to leave.
Would you want to see a Giselle, or what would you want to see more? Giselle without
Uh,
a Robin or Robin without a Giselle?
oh, uh, oh my goodness. My first instinct is to say Giselle without Robin
Okay.
because she will be running scared on that show. I think if Robin leaves, she will fight tooth and nail to have Sharice, even as a friend, there every outing, every scene. She will have her truth. She will fight to keep Neko on, and she will fight to have Sharice come back because
I think,
she needs that armor. She needs and Sharice she wants the platform. You
yes,
know,
she does.
yeah. So trust me, if Robin gone and NECA might stay, but for damn sure, Sharice it will be there because
So,
yeah.
do you remember when Candace first came on and we were saying Sharice a lot in the beginning, and Sharice was doing what she didn't normally do and was really coming for Candace,
Mhm.
like, oh, who did your mother pay for your ring? All this stuff. I heard Candace say that she was basically competing for a spot with another. It was between her and another housewife for that
Mhm.
spot, and she ended up getting the spot. But I met someone who was friends with one of the ladies. I'll just give you a hint. Fisticuffs. She's no longer there. Beautiful,
Okay.
beautiful down. Monique face. Woof, beautiful
Mhm.
down. And that's one thing I did appreciate. That I will say this: she showed hairstyles that Black women wore, from braids to locks.
Oh.
She wore a head wrap.
Oh.
She wore a wrap. I appreciated her showing like Black women and
Honey.
what we look like with our wraps and our this and our that. I appreciated that. Like she, so I knew
That
someone who was
face.
friends with, right? And that's another thing that Rodney has said. Y'all go up for Giselle, but really it was Monique. Bloop,
Oh,
and we know why. Anyway,
Monique sits them down.
yeah,
Gorgeous.
yeah.
Gorgeous. Anyway, go ahead.
But so the friend of hers who wasn't on the show said that there
Mm,
was discussions um amongst the cast that we're going to get rid of this new girl to get Charisse back. So remember, Giselle had an issue with Candace. Apologize to my friend. And Candace was like, no, like basically, and they were going back and forth. It was a concerted effort. Candace has been fighting since she was on the show. And I will say this. I wasn't always a Candace fan. And then I said to myself one day, why don't you like her? And I
mm,
said, oh, it's because she's going against two people that you like, but those are the ones, mainly Giselle. I said, but they're the ones that are picking with her. Like I came to like, just because we always, we like who we like, we draw,
yeah.
but I try to be unbiased, at least watching or whatever. It doesn't all, not always successful. But I remember watching the way they came at her. And I had to go back to the lessons. And I've said this before. I taught my kids, you can't throw a pebble at somebody and get mad because they throw a boulder back. You can't dictate someone's response. And I don't think that they were used to that. And she came in like a wrecking ball. But I also think about the Candace that her first season. Remember when they were all coming at Karen, even Monique, when they were where did they go? Paris or Spain? And they were going back and forth in that van.
Yeah.
And even
Mm-hmm.
Monique was laughing at Karen. She didn't have Karen's back. Who spoke up? Candace. When Ashley was coming for, people forget Candace and Monique's friendship breakdown. It was because Ashley had sat up on Watch What Happens Live and said that Monique had a lot of drinks and basically was driving drunk and basically drove her car into that ditch. And Candace at that reunion had Monique's back. She was in that yellow dress, 10 toes down, had Monique's back. Then we had the incident of Michael grabbing the cameraman's butt at Monique's house. Monique claimed the tapes weren't on, but all of a sudden, Ashley goes and sits down with Monique and wants to apologize.
Yeah.
And Candace is like, girl, all this stuff she said about you, and you're just going to let her back in. And Monique was like, stop acting childish. That was the breakdown. Candace defending Monique to these people.
It was a lot. It was musical chairs with their friendship.
Yes.
Every switching. So I think a lot of people forget those details.
Yeah.
In that order.
And in that order.
In that order. In that order.
In that order.
Okay. But people forget that. And you retelling this story, Miss Ashley, she can go.
She can go.
She can go. She has no purpose on this show. And it's always funny how a certain sector of Bravo reviewers and YouTubers, and I'll throw in Carlos King too. I saw a clip of him. They understand and they see that Ashley has no purpose.
Yeah.
But on the other side, she's fun, she's cute.
She's so pretty.
She's cute. Honey, a lot of people are pretty. What's next?
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah. Well, she told Katie, fix the hole in your head, heart, and not between your legs. And you don't think
even to this current season, her being like giddy that she started this like fiasco between Ineka and Wendy.
Yes.
She just like takes pleasure. She takes like it's almost to the point now when they're at the table. She's like, "So Wendy, oh, the car." It's like, "Well, are you gonna go, Wendy, to her home?" It's like, girl, let the producer produce. Like you don't need, just relax. And I think I don't know, she needs to sit out, but she has no story. Well, she has a story, but she's not telling us her story. She can go.
Right.
She can go. This whole like we have 4 OGs still on the show, the longest running. Okay, well now some can break up.
I feel like Candace, her and her breast milk came all the way down there last season to get some stuff started. And I think that's what annoys me, because it never comes off like, at least when you're producing, it needs to come off like it's genuine interest. I think Candace actually does a really good job of introducing subjects sometimes. You
Yeah.
weren't on the trip. You drive down, talk to Wendy about her insecurities because it could go back to Eddie cheating on her. And we see Giselle bring it up on camera twice.
Yeah.
So Ashley can do her dirty work. And then she goes on. It's just interesting to me and again, it goes back to what offends you and what doesn't. Like, I think about the
Hmm.
times, people say Giselle goes after people's marriages, and I hear people say she doesn't. She screamed in a lobby to Karen, your husband wants to lick Erica alive, wants to spend the night
That's
with
a
her
lot.
best friend.
Yeah.
Do you like saying that kind of stuff? No matter how strong your
Yeah.
institution is, it would be like, but I do believe that of all of
Hmm.
that Giselle, well, we've seen it, but that she lies. And there was a producer who was on the Bravo Daily Dish a couple years ago. I think his name was Kamal Bell. I could have the name wrong. And they
Hmm.
asked him who would he hang out for this? Like, if he wanted to smoke cigars, he would hang out with Monique. If he wanted to get the gossip, he would like he was saying Giselle was fun. He was like, but she's wrong on the story. She'll call me up and say, this didn't happen. And he'll be like, Giselle, that's not true. And she's like, oh, okay, bye. To me, that kind of person is dangerous, adding sauce
Yeah.
to things. And I guess I'm just
Yeah.
tired of watching her. Yes, she doesn't take part on social media. She doesn't have to. Like, even though, remember when the
So,
housewives used to tweet with you that night? I
yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see her driving up to her job, punching her time clock, doing what
Yeah.
she does and leaving. Be a part
Yeah.
of it. That's what's
Yeah.
annoying to me.
And it's so funny. She always says, "Oh, I don't do social media." Da, da, da. I get it, but yet you have a podcast,
Where
so
you
you
get
are a part of the social sphere. We're not. Yeah.
Where do you get the
Yeah.
headlines and stuff that you bring onto the show to talk about people's husbands? Wendy's
Yeah.
that
Where
rumor
did
about
she get that?
in the blog.
Yeah. Even the Candace, the lady with Chris,
Yes.
it was on IG or Twitter. Where'd she get it from?
Right.
She's on there. Trust me. She
And I,
she wants to seem so above everything. I think that's her issue. You
right.
know.
And
And go ahead.
I just want to say this about the Robin thing and Candace real quick. I get it. Candace was her, did interviews, said how she felt, and Robin's like, "Girl, now you want to be my friend?" No, that's your right. But I really started thinking about this yesterday.
Hmm.
Robin, you're so hurt that Candace was saying all these things, knowing that you would hear them. Last season, you pulled out a Bluetooth speaker, played a part of Candace's live because you wanted the ladies to hear the bad things that your friends were saying about y'all when your friends spoke highly of you and of Wendy. Where did you get that clip from? Which blogger, YouTuber, podcaster sent you that clip and you didn't do your due diligence? She wasn't even so to me, when I think about that part of me, like I was saying, okay, Candace, you said the things you said. Robin has a right to not mess with you. But then I'm thinking back to what Robin doing that to Candace last year. And I'm like, actually, I don't even care now. And that just changed in a day for me. Like, girl, you set your friend up.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that to Giselle if you ain't played none of your podcast stuff. You know what I mean? But you did it and that's why Candace was crying in that van on the way home.
Can, Speaking of Candace crying, that scene when they were at that, where were they?
That
Austin or
chicken,
Houston,
that was,
and she was boohooing us, and is everyone's on the can agree to this. Where is this friendship? Where is this friendship, this sisterhood? Because I promise you, we have never seen it.
they don't
We
show it
have
on
never
camera.
seen it.
No.
You were a friend to her. She wasn't a friend to you. And God knows when she was pumping Giselle, what you were saying or stuff about your. It's clear.
Yeah.
Candace put more into the friendship, and she thought it was more than what it was.
Look at her, Chris. She used to go over, Giselle used to go over Chris and Candace's house out like off season, and Chris would
Oh
cook for
wow!
her.
Yes,
So then
that's
I think that's what
disgusting.
made it doubly egregious to me. For then you to turn around and instead of saying to me,
Ooh.
this wouldn't even have to be a storyline because it wasn't in blogs. Only the people that work at Bravo were there.
Yeah.
But I was going to say she could have phrased it like, man, when Chris wanted to talk to me about Candace last season, We were in that room. We were in my room talking, chilling. We friends. But then I just thought about, Lord, what is the people going to say? Because I know how Jamal was. So I was like, we need to get up out of here. Even if she said it like that, I would understand. But a part of me wouldn't because that has no relevance to the show. It has nothing to do with the story. You bringing up that with Chris was for a story and not
It
an opening.
was.
And she thought Candace was just going to be like, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm okay. And Candace was like, what you're not about to do is play with my marriage.
She honestly played it all out in her head. So when they filmed that scene last season with Robin, and she said, "Well, he thought, I may be with it." If I was a producer, I would have said, "Cut, hold on. Do you honestly really want to go this way, go this route? Because this is serious accusation. This is not they got to make a show, sweet premiere during sweeps in November. This is very serious. Are you sure?
Are you
Because
sure?
you can't play with stuff like that. You
No.
cannot play. And now it's so out of control. She lost the plot. It's like now she has to stick with this story now.
And
She
get the
has to.
focus off of her.
But then you say he made you. I said when she said that, I said, well,
Remember when we found out last year she lied? She was like, he asked me, could we go back to my room? And we find out it was her that
yeah, that's
suggested it.
awful.
And I even thought about even further. She said when she was at that lunch with Robin, he asked me
That's
to go back to
awful.
my room and I'm thinking my glam is there. So I said, okay. But then I find out later that he had hugged Cal when he was leaving. So he knew Cal wasn't there. You're insinuating something. If I said me and Carlos were
Yeah,
out, he asked me to go back to my room, I'm thinking Corey's there. But then I found out that Carlos saw Corey leaving. People are automatically going to think you were trying to
yeah.
set something up. So she knew the words that she was using.
She's hurting. She's hurting the show. None of the husbands want to film.
Yes, that's the
Like
thing.
you
None of
show
them.
like group scenes, like you've literally you. She's hurt the show, but yet she's the star,
She's
and
just, and
and this is what they have.
it's, I hope that
Exactly.
for Potomac's sake, they get on the good foot, get on
We,
a different track.
I I can't even imagine what their reunions gonna look like. I can't. I can't. I can't. I honestly can't because it's like what I don't know. I, anyway,
Yeah. Well,
on to
speaking
another
of
thing.
getting on the good foot, we have talked about and we will probably continue to talk about until a new season airs and we drag it or don't drag it. Monica Garcia Delgado Fowler Darnell.
Santos, Valderrama, Menendez. He
So
had a very cool
even I mean,
season.
like, come on.
I got her explanation. I understood it. I understood it. I do think. Let me tell you something. Even without the reality Fonties, that was a good season.
Okay.
That was a great season. I think one of their best. Do you agree?
I agree. I agree. It was like
Mm.
it reminded me a little bit of old Potomac, not in the way that it was as funny, but every time I watched, I felt like I was moving. Like the story kept moving.
Yeah, the
Like,
things
oh,
were
this keeps
moving
moving.
along.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I
Yeah,
felt that it was almost reminiscent of old Potomac in that way. Like it kept moving. So yes, I agree.
yeah. And Angie grew on me. 'Cause
Me
first I'm like, what
too.
is going on? These outfits, like it's a lot.
And she
I got it. I got it.
she will take it. When Carlos King was on the phone with two T's in a pot, and Angie was there, and he was telling her, "I
Mm,
call you this, you blow it." She will take it. I have to give her credit.
Yeah, and I think she now feels comfortable
Hmm.
in her space. With that being said, I did think that Monica was going to return. Now it's official. She's sitting out this season. I do think whoever they bring on, and they're not bringing the heat or it's not giving what it's supposed to give, Monica may come back at the tail end of filming.
I agree.
Because I mean, Salt Lake City is a small town. It's not Manhattan. It's not Miami. It's not like a major metropolis where you have all these people you can kind of pluck from, things going on. It's very insular,
Yes.
you know? So it's like you need a firecracker almost, you know? And I do think I I don't know, I think Heather knew, I think production knew.
Me too.
You cannot okay, Jen Shaw gave them a cease and desist, a copy of a cease and desist, M. Fowler. I'm quite sure that Jen, because Heather said it out her own mouth in part three. She said when Andy said something, she said, "Oh no, oh, but the original IG page." And she said, "Oh,
Yes.
it got shut down."
How,
And Heather
yep.
chimed in, said, "Yeah, that was because of the
Cease and
cease and
desist.
desist." How did you know that? I mean, did she know beforehand? I mean, she could have learned later, but I, and now it came out that Heather knew something at the beginning of filming. That came out. Yes, I think it was in the variety clip. She knew something. She had a clue something was going on.
And see, remember the one of the other people that was supposed to be involved, his name starts with a K. Remember, I think you might
Uh,
have sent it to me. He
right?
released
Kale,
KO or yes,
something. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he released all these texts between him and Heather. And he was like, what she was like, what do you
Um,
need from me? Do you need now maybe
uh-huh.
she could say, I didn't know Monica was involved, but it's like,
And my thing is this, and that's another thing too. If your hairdresser was besties slash in cahoots with Monica, and they were doing all this stuff, even if Tanisha wasn't driving herself, she had all this information. And this lady stepped behind you, stood behind you, and was doing your hair. That's very intimate. That's very trusting. You probably told her things. You don't know if she told Monica. Like, how can you
right.
trust her? She's still your hairdresser?
No,
I mean,
oh,
ain't that much.
she said that Tanisha
Well,
left on her own.
oh, okay. Okay. Because I was thinking, ain't that much bumper curl, hair extension, root touching up in the world for me to still have the person doing my hair who was in cahoots with old gal.
And
I don't know. I don't know.
like you said,
I wouldn't
touching
be
your
shocked.
hair. My grandma,
Yeah.
when I was growing up, and her hair was really long. People would touch in it, even like in high school and stuff. And my mom, it
Yeah.
was like thick. And oh, your hair's so thick. My grandmom seen it one time and said, "Don't you let nobody touch your hair because they can have bad feet." You know, like old school South,
Mm-hmm.
like mama,
Mm-hmm.
grandmama. Don't you let nobody. You don't let people just touch your hair. They could have
Yeah.
bad feelings, bad thoughts, and it translate. And I remember that stuck with me. Like you don't just let people. So you got this woman in my mind. I'm thinking like has she had conversations about Heather? Or like you said, even if she didn't repeat anything about Heather, did she repeat something that Heather may have said about Jen with one of the other ladies?
And this whole time she was like, she was doing your hair and she knew all this stuff about what Monica was
You're in
doing.
my
And
house. It's
when
not even like I'm coming to your
yes,
shop.
yes. And when Heather's asked about Tanisha, she was on Watch What Happens and she was on something else. She's like, oh yeah. Like you could hear in her body language and how she answers the questions, she still has a fondness for it. They're probably still
Yes.
friends.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Tanisha pops back up to do a little bump, do a little curl, do a little root touch up.
Or if
I
Heather is
trust me,
lying, do you think maybe
mm,
Heather might be lying because she said, I was just a side gig for Tanisha?
yeah, that was so weird. Like I was like, why'd you say that? Like, huh? Like
Because if
it
she
was
like,
so
yeah.
so weird she said that. So weird that she said that. I caught that. Like when people say things and something just seems out of order, like just randomly dropped. I was like a side gig.
Because sometimes people, if you let them
Okay.
keep talking long enough, they'll trip themselves up. They'll
Yeah.
say something contradictory. What I wanted Monica to do was to not
Mm-hmm.
be so caught in lies, like, or like the semantics of it all. Like you
Mm-hmm.
drove by Jen Shaw's house, but I didn't drive by y'all's houses. But we see the messages of you saying, send me Heather's address.
Yeah.
Like, girl, we
No,
know
no,
what your
no.
intentions were.
Yeah.
Just be
I mean, I
honest
do
at this
think,
point.
yeah, I do think by part three she was like defeated.
She was, you could see it. She didn't even really toast. Like,
Yeah. And honestly, I forgot Whitney was there.
yes.
I forgot Rumors and the Husbands was there. They just sat there and just like,
And that's how I like Whitney the most. Oh, you were here? Because my bad.
let's say something. Her saving grace was her conversation with Mary.
That was me too.
And And that it goes back to what I told you a few podcasts ago, where I said I love Mary because she's gonna say how she feels, and she doesn't let those white women punk her. Because Mary said, "I had this, I had all this,
I
all
had,
my
yeah,
shit."
yeah. She said before we started, you got your house too, and
Let's she let's be very clear.
yep, she's
I
right.
had my stuff,
She,
and I'm glad she addressed the race component. And I think maybe they delved deeper into it because none of the women were she didn't feel safe around any of them.
and with Whitney, if they had a given context to that, I didn't think about it
Mhm.
until I think it was Cara Berry from Everyone's Business But Mine. I was listening
Uh-huh.
to her podcast and she reminded me, look, I'm saying she reminded me like she was talking to just me. I feel like she's always talking to me, like, hey, Cara. But she said she wished they had given the full context. Mary said, this tells me she's racist because the picture of Jenny and
Yes.
Whitney, that's what she was responding to. This woman
Hmm.
who has spewed anti-black rhetoric. We it's when I first saw her interaction with Mary, again, I was like, oh, I know what I see. Because when you've experienced it and you see it, so now it's been confirmed, and now you're at your event. I get it, it's your event, but it's like, even if she had taken the picture and her response was different, it was like, I was at a work event. I wasn't gonna cause a scene, but F y'all, basically y'all are stupid for thinking this. Instead of being like, I
Yeah.
understand how you guys feel. This is my perspective. So that's why Mary tweeted what she said.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
context was lost. I started thinking, because when I want to get on Mary, like, me and Brooke talked about it, and there's a lot of things that I don't agree with what Mary does. However, then I do go back to, I remember being growing up, and then your family's black, your church family's black, you have black friends, but where you spend a lot of your day, I was at a
Hmm.
school from elementary to middle school and middle school until I got to high school with majority white people. And
Okay.
so I can imagine how Mary felt in this all white space in Utah.
Mhm.
Lisa, look at Lisa defending. Oh, well, there, so and
Sorry.
so is a Mormon. He's black. Girl, oh,
Okay.
so you're one of those. I have a black friend. So, like, I can imagine how Mary felt uncomfortable. And even as a 46-year-old adult, sometimes when you're the only, I don't feel scared or uncomfortable, but it's
Yeah.
visually, I notice, like, here we go. Ain't nobody else
Yeah.
like me. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
when you go into certain spaces. So
Yeah.
it I just think about that sometimes. Like maybe that's why she is always on the defense.
Hmm.
Because she's going
Yeah.
into this. And that is why I will always see it from Meredith. Because Meredith had
Yeah.
her back. And from what I have heard, allegedly, Mary expressed to Meredith what she felt. And
Mm.
Meredith was like, I got like, I'm with you. You don't need like I may not see it,
Yeah.
but because I'm not you,
Yeah.
I'm gonna support you. And so
Yeah.
she had her back. And I
And I
appreciate
think I heard that Brooks likes Mary a lot too.
it. Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it. But yeah, Lisa making that remark, it turned so many people off, and I
Oh,
was like, I knew it.
well, I mean, thank you, Carl.
I
There was something
knew
about
it.
her that I could just never
I
get with,
knew it.
ever.
I knew it. She's like, anyway, it's like,
What
what's all
about
this
her
body
saying,
language and
can somebody ask
antsiness
me?
and
I'm Mormon. Girl,
okay,
what?
and
Like for you to say that, can somebody ask me? But that lets me know how she sees herself. You have two women,
hmm.
Whitney and Heather, that were born and raised in Utah, Mormon. You were not. And they're
Hmm.
answering the question, and that's not good enough because that hasn't been your experience because you haven't cared enough to research
Hmm.
it. So you say, can somebody ask me? And what I tell you is going to be the truth. I said, when you said I knew it, it was like, boom, it clicked. Every feeling that I have felt about you, Lisa Barlow.
You know, I've never been to Barlett. I never
We
saw it.
we are
Never
not
saw it.
Barletts.
Never saw it. I'll be surprised if Mary comes back next season. They do need
Really?
her at full capacity. Because I saw if Monica would have came back, she would have came back, of course, through Mary.
Okay.
And then I would have saw a Mary, Monica, Whitney. Because Whitney seems she seemed on stage as the one who would fold the first one to fold.
Yes,
I do
me
think, and I
too.
do think Angie would have came into the mix, but I don't know because I think now without Monica, Mary's only like I just don't see Mary coming back just for Meredith.
Do
I
you
mean,
think that?
Meredith's a good. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'll say Meredith do need scene partners because her scenes with Seth a chop. No one cares. Like no one cares. No one cares. Filming a podcast is not a scene. It's not. It's So if Mary comes back for capacity, I see it, but I don't know. I don't
What
know.
about, do you think it could be because she likes, and I like Angie because she can take my
I,
toughness.
I love it. I do it at work. I love it. I love it. Mary gets a Kiki to me.
Yeah, so I
I follow
think,
her on TikTok. Oh, go
oh,
ahead.
you follow her on TikTok? Oh, I need to follow.
Yeah, she and on Twitter, she posted a video of her hairstylist doing her hair, blowing her hair out, and she was, she was looking, playing some R&B song. I was Miss Mary,
I think,
and look, my initial reaction between you and I and all your podcasters, I said you need to send a hairdresser over to Beverly Hills and get out girl got self.
Lo-
I love Garcelle down, love her down to the
but
ground. Okay,
baby,
love. I always give Garcelle her flowers. That lady's been on TV since the '90s. Love her down. But I said, Miss Mary, can you send your hairdresser over to Beverly Hills, please? Hey, can you? Okay,
give
that's all.
Garcelle, like baby. Oh,
When they just got to where Spain, are they in Spain or
yes, Spain.
Barcelona?
Or
Spain,
yeah,
okay. And I saw her hairstylist, her makeup artist, and I said, can we keep that? Because I knew her good friend does her hair, but I love the red. A lot of people don't like the red on her. I like the red on her.
I
I
like the
don't
red
mind
too.
it. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I just think that I don't like to see people come for her like, oh my god, her outfit. Da, da, da. I was like, okay, everyone's not like fashionista. That's not her
Yeah.
role. She's an actress. But it's to me the hair, and I like when she the bone straight
Yes.
hair. It's beautiful. Like that lady
Wait,
is.
wait, wait. Look at your screen. It likes it too. Do
Oh
you see that?
wow,
Ah,
how that happened?
I don't know. You were like, I like the hair. And
Beautiful.
Garcelle, you
But
see,
yeah,
even Zoom is rooting for you.
yes, but yeah, I was like, it just needs to be more consistent with
Yeah.
me. 'Cause I
Do
don't like people always dogpiling on her. I hate that
yeah,
on
me too.
Twitter. It's
Yeah.
like, you know,
With Mary, do you think
uh-huh.
because, the way she was born and raised, and then of course, I feel like once she married her step grandfather, she probably felt even more isolated. She probably felt she had to do this for her family.
Mhm,
So now to keep the money. So now
mhm,
she's on this show and she likes it and she likes
mhm,
the fame. I feel like little by little, she's getting a little bit more
mhm.
comfortable. Like even those clips before the reunion that when she was at Kathy Hilton's Beverly Hills party and
Uh-huh.
she was just like
Mhm.
very coherent. I think that I think sometimes her
Yes,
awkwardness is because of her being unsure. She's only sure
yes,
of herself when she's in the pulpit. But
yes.
now I feel like she's becoming more self-assured and she just needs to kind of check, maybe like she'll have to learn how
Hmm.
to give a little, take a little, like give a little, take a little, like Angie. The thing is, I felt her though, because when she said
What?
Angie was eating and then touching her, my grandma would have been like, mm-mm, no, like I'm like older black women, you putting
Yeah.
your fingers in your mouth and then you
Yeah.
touching me.
Oh,
But Angie was being so sweet, like accepting to Mary in that moment, right?
yeah.
So it's just funny. It's about learning each other and learn. But Mary should have
Yeah.
been more like Mary could have been like, girl, you didn't put your fingers all in your
Yeah.
mouth and now you touching on. But that's not me. But I think that I feel like the more she's around these ladies, it all almost make her not that she's not human, but like we'll start to see different facets of her,
Yeah. For
and I
sure.
want to see
For
them.
sure. Yeah, and I do think she is sensitive, and her sensitivity comes from a place of uncertainty.
Yes.
Because when she got on Heather about talking about her house, Heather was just making fodder for comeback.
Yeah.
I didn't think, like, it's just fodder. She didn't mean anything about it, and I understand. And I think once she gets more comfortable, then she'll be like, okay, they're just joking. But I forgot she was at Kathy Hilton's party. I remember
Yes. You
this.
remember? And I think that the same way I said that people get accountability and apologizing mixed up, I think people say they want honest, real, and authentic, but people are like,
Hmm.
I can't believe that Mary said yes. When Heather asked her if she looked inbred, that was her thought. Was she supposed to? I'm just saying, there's a lot of people that would have been like, no. But let's not forget, Lisa
We
Barlow
appreciate it.
made the same comment about Angie H and
Hmm.
Heather being related, like, oh, inbred cousins.
Yeah,
She said it too.
but
She said it in a confessional. Mary said it. What Mary said it through a window, but then and then when Heather asked her, she said yes. So I think that people can't take if they ask her something and she says it, it's like being
they
honest.
need Mary on there. They need that comic. You don't know what she's going to say. That humor. And speaking of humor and off the wall and zany, Kathy Hilton appearing at the reunion.
So that's real? Because I didn't know if
Oh
that was
yeah.
real or not.
Oh yeah. She made an appearance. She made an appearance. I said something's going on. Something's going on. Kathy has a lot of power. Kathy has. I was telling Rodney his live because he was rehashing last season BH with Brenna versus Kathy,
Yes.
and I said I
Yep.
do believe there's audio of what she said,
Yeah.
but they're not even as powerful as NBC Universal is as a network. They ain't about to play with her like that.
No, no.
They ain't about
They
to
are
play with
definitely
her
no.
like that. And I'm trying to figure out why this special appearance on BH reunion. Maybe it's like a week, like maybe she'll come back, or my sisters and I are repaired,
Yes.
yada. But, you know,
But it still would be
we
weird
shall
because she
see.
hasn't been on this season.
I know, but it's been a lot of talks via Kyle about her
That's
sister
true.
relationships and how her and Kim are good, then her and Kathy aren't, and vice versa and stuff. So
It's always
I'm looking
Kyle
forward
getting into it
to
with
it.
one of them.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. I do miss it was a trend on Twitter by Bravo. There was a post that one Bravo clip,
Yes.
and I posted the clip with Toothless Not Homeless, and that scene where Kathy leaned in Garcelle's ear. It's like, I want to call you tonight. She's
Yeah.
like, Toothless Not Homeless. Hold on to me. And and Garcelle was so tickled. She was laughing. She's like, you better not call me. I'm not taking your call.
Yep.
That
Yep.
scene, like, that scene was so funny to me, and it's still funny. And yes, I do think Kathy was put on a character like so many other women on these shows.
They all right.
Her She just shows humor and ditziness, and it works.
You know
I
what?
don't.
I agree. It does because it's like we know what we're watching.
Yeah,
So there we
yeah,
go.
and yeah, and it's I enjoyed her. Like we needed, some laughs. People are saying that this season BH isn't good. I'm enjoying it. It's
Me
like, can we have
too.
one season of just light and a
That's
little bit of this, a little bit like everything that happens. It's like people with this like Royal Rumble mentality want to see
I think so.
It's like we can't do that.
DJ Richie Sky made a good point on one of
Uh-huh.
his latest YouTube videos, and I was like, he's right. Us old school housewife people, right?
Yes.
That were there since the beginning. We watch for a different reason than some of these newer people.
Yes.
We don't always
Yes.
need to see fighting and drama, and it doesn't have to be a scandal for it to be
No, it
good. We
doesn't.
watch for the fabulosity, the luxuriousness, the petty drama, the petty fight.
Yeah.
Somebody taking a bow. I'm adding this. Somebody taking a bow off of Heather
Yeah, I
Dubrow's
remember that.
name change.
Yeah.
That's what we were
Yeah.
watching for. But there's a newer upsurge of housewives that are watching for something different. And I was like, oh, that's a good point.
And even these new housewives that are coming on, Erica De Niro, she made a good point. She said, stop hiring these fans who are trying to come on and make TV. Like going after, like Anna Marie going after Sutton. It's like, oh,
Come on,
Of
it's
course.
lazy.
It's lazy. It's so
Lazy.
lazy. It's like Sutton.
And she didn't even catch on. Kyle, like, ooh, Kyle set you up.
Yeah. It's funny because you could tell she's a fan of Garcelle. You could tell.
Yes.
You could tell. I could tell. I was like, you could tell who she likes, who she doesn't. It's like, okay, you don't watch the show.
You know what I loved? Well, speaking of watching the show, I
Mm-hmm.
know, I think that's where she got that whole, what she said, Crystal said. I think she got it from the show. The Flash. I don't think
She
that
had
Crystal gave her
to.
that.
She had to. She had
So,
to.
but what I loved, and I think the girls forget about Miss Garcelle,
Mm.
unless we didn't see it. But when they were at the toothless, not homeless um thing, Miss Paula
Mm.
Abdul, honey, made her way over to Garcelle. And I was
Icon to
like, the
icon.
girls forget who Garcelle is.
Mm. I
Yeah.
think it's quote unquote easy for them to do that initially because she came onto the ones who've been in it since Yonder and who
Mhm.
depend on that for exposure. I'm like that lady has been in this game for a very long time. Like we know
Yes.
about the whole. And after her first not her first. I'd say her second season, but it really her popularity took off within the group, and they understood her power when the whole Erica Jean and
Yes.
Tommy Two Guns took the money and ran,
Not time.
and Kyle folded. It was like, oh, and her. Remember her? I think it was like the first episode, and Kyle and Garcelle was like linking up and producing. I said, Kyle ain't no dummy. Kyle is not a dummy. She said, oh. Oh, okay. Let me simmer down and get with the team,
And
and
she
then when
sat
show me,
and ate her food when Garcelle was telling her how she felt,
uh-huh,
unlike Dorit.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, the reach, the reach.
That's all we can say. It's
That's
like,
all I can say because I do believe that PK set her up for
mm,
Omar. I think everybody believes. I do believe that she thinks she was robbed.
got you.
I do believe she thinks she was robbed. The other part is, girl, your husband did it. You got owe some money. Because have you noticed, she's very dressed down this season.
Yes.
Her hair is darker.
Yes.
I don't know if it's darker throughout this whole season,
It's darker.
which means, yeah, it's darker, which means it's low maintenance. You're not
Yes.
running to get touch ups. You're saving money.
Yep.
Her styling is more relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
And people forget, and I forgot, when their first couple of seasons, they used to throw big events,
Yes, they did.
lavish parties. Yeah. But that's the first thing I noticed. I thought, wow, the Reed's very dressed down. She didn't bring glam with her, just her
Nope.
assistant.
No,
Where the coins at the Reed?
nothing.
Where the coins at the Reed?
Because they owe the people. I like y'all
Mm-hmm.
still owe the people.
Yeah,
And
and even she called Crystal a child bride. I'm glad they got on her ass. I'm
yeah,
glad they got on
when
her ass
Clara
and
was
mine.
19 when she got married, and not saying anything, my mom was 19, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Crystal was 24. Kyle was 12.
Mm.
You talking about what you said didn't even make sense. Number
It
one.
didn't,
And
but we knew what she was.
we
We
knew what she
knew.
meant. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I was like,
It's weird how she tried to like
what?
downplay Crystal. Crystal had the top two coconut water
Yes.
brand in
Mm-hmm.
the world, the country. Like,
And
what
I
do you
just want
have?
to say this before we have to go. I want to say, and I want to get your them all of a sudden saying, "Oh, Crystal has a voice. Oh, Crystal has a voice." I thought back to her first season when she actually
Mm-hmm.
came in with a voice, but y'all all sided with the white woman Sutton and told her you're using the wrong word. Pick a different word.
Yeah.
That's not what happened. We're gonna side with Sutton. You're so of course she kind of
Yeah.
stepped back a
Yeah.
little bit, but I'm glad that she's
Yeah.
eating Dorit up in these Twitter streets. Bring that energy to the reunion, Crystal. When she said the steps
Yeah.
of a successful match, and our
Dorit
website
can
really
go.
works.
Dorit can go.
Yeah. I think she's fighting for a check. I think her and PK are fighting to keep these checks.
But you notice her confession, she's really eating up Kyle on the low.
Ooh.
Kyle had, now Kyle got her new piece. She don't need to read no more.
And Kyle's been saying that Dorit is making their friendship out to be more than it was. I said, "Oh, girl."
Oh,
Oh yeah, I'll
she
send you the
did.
article. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yes, she
oh.
did. She said, and the flashbacks that there's, she said, Dorit isn't one that I'd go work out with, that I'd go jogging with. Mind you, that's new to you. Well, you've always worked out, but this particular phase is new. She said she's not like somebody I would call like if I was going through something. Yes.
Life
I
is
said, well, when
tricky.
did that happen? Oh, you was close when you was when you saw how close she was with Vanderpump. Kyle has a history of this. So I was like, oh
Life is tricky.
girl. Say that
Life
again.
is tricky. Life is tricky.
Hold on, let me text myself that episode title. Life.
Yes. Where is she
Life.
sitting there on the couch? On the end, Dorit? She's sitting on
That
the end?
isn't that the yeah, I think that's the picture they showed, right? Her and Anne Marie.
Yeah. I don't even want to see her tear up and feign hurt over Garcelle and this ring thing. It's like, girl, we not that don't work anymore. Like she didn't play all her cards. That doesn't work anymore. It just
No,
doesn't.
no, it like,
It
come
just,
on. But the funny
it's
thing is,
just too
Kyle keeps bringing up the ring because you want people to talk about it. Oh, is this the ring
yeah.
my husband? Like, come on.
Yeah. Like Dorit's issues is with the black woman and the Asian woman.
Yeah.
It's like anything from the new material.
And people keep missing that Dorit when Garcelle asked Dorit if her kids see like brown and black people. She said, my mom's best friend is black.
And that's a damn lie. I promise you. Yeah.
Somebody find Dorit's mama and ask her.
So what's going to happen when Salt Lake's gone, Beverly Hills probably is over next month. You know, what shows? Oh, of course we have Martha's Vineyard coming soon.
This
No date
vineyard.
yet.
Vanderpump
What do we, oh yeah, it comes on tonight.
tonight.
Okay,
But I was thinking
I'll
the
watch.
same thing. I was like, we're heavy housewives. Then what are we going to have in the next coming? Because OC just started filming.
Goodbye.
Atlanta, normally we'd be getting close up to like, well, Atlanta hasn't started yet. So,
And no one believed me last season. I said they're going to take a pause. I said they're going to break. No one believed. I was like, I don't know why people get so in their feelings. Like, no, you're going to come back. I said, okay. And where are we?
yeah,
Not a
they
camera,
took a
not
pause.
a contract, nothing.
Nobody has
I still think they're going to do Miami style. They're going to keep. It's like I have deja vu because our last episode, I
talked
made a
to, yep.
prediction. It's going to be Candy, Kenya, Sheree. Everyone else, new.
Wow.
Yeah, you need those three.
Yeah.
You need Kenya because Kenya
Do
going
we
to get
need
into it with
Sheree?
you. Yeah, yeah, we do. We need Sheree. Sheree's delusion.
Okay.
Enough, you know.
On another level.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we don't need her, but if you're going to introduce a new sector of women, oh yeah, we need Sheree. Oh, we need. She's going to give you all the. She's going to puff her chest up, and she'll get messy in the field with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But no fans. You can't get no fans
No
in the show.
fans. Say yes.
No fans.
Oh, Dubai. Dubai's going to be coming back. Okay. For those of
Okay.
y'all that are listening by audio, jump over to YouTube for this moment so you can see Carlos's face and what he did when I said Dubai's coming. He said, no, no, it's coming.
Okay.
Oh my
That
God.
should have been like that show's like almost a year old now. Like they wrapped a year ago.
We saw the first episode at BravoCon. Like, I don't know
And
what's
New York,
happening.
and New York isn't filming. I think they film starting soon in spring. I don't
Wow.
think Jen is coming back. I don't think Jen's coming
Me neither.
back.
And I don't mind it because
Um,
this whole, oh my God, me,
yeah,
like, oh my God, me.
yeah.
Bye. Mm-mm.
And she read it like post season wrap. She was reading it. Oh, and I get it. You want to get a little yah
Yeah.
fame. I get
Mhm.
it. Put your name
Yep.
back out there. I knew who she was before. I get it. But that cast they need to add two more people.
Yeah.
And I think I think Sonia needs to be on there. I saw
Oh,
some
okay.
TikToks with Sonia and Jessel. Sonia and Luann. I would not be surprised if they kind of sprinkle them in there. They need it.
Wow.
You need that type of like off the wall. You don't know what they're going to say. Energy. You need
Oh,
it.
yeah. And not so practiced and studied.
Because I promise you, Sai will come back a different person.
Yes, she
She
is.
is not. Her and Aaron. So it's going to be like, who are these people?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
You're right.
know. So
Then people are
they're
going to
going to
say,
need. Yeah. So they're going to need some of the old to kind of get them off their kilter and to
I
bring
love
some
it.
like fun and lightness. Because and I love Uber. I think she's a beautiful woman, but she didn't really bring anything.
Because it was all off
And
screen.
yeah, and I do think and I was the one who predicted that she was dating
Yes,
someone in
you did.
finance.
Y'all,
Remember?
I could
Yeah.
screenshot the date and time of the text message you sent me. You said he's in finance, he's this, and
And I
then
said
it
on
came
here,
out.
uh-huh. I
You
said, because
did.
wait a minute. On upstate, and I live in New York City, upstate on the weekends. Okay, most of them don't live in the city. Okay.
You
I
predicted
be
that.
literally, but I always type online. I said, y'all don't believe me. I be seeing this stuff for what it is. I see it. But anyway, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Carlos, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for allowing me to take up your time. Tell your mama I said, hey, mama.
I
Um,
will.
Let the people know where they can
Mhm.
find you. Um, Anything that you have coming up. And I'll drop the links to your article. Um,
Cool.
so
Sounds
y'all
good.
click on the episode description. I'm figuring out how to do that on YouTube, but I know for sure in the podcast description, his articles will be linked. So yes, let everybody know where they can find you.
Of course, you can find me right on my track on Twitter, Carlos J. Harris. That's CarlosJharris.
That's it. That's the only place you want people to find you.
Yeah, because I pretty
You
much
don't do
promote
IG a
all
lot.
my work. Yeah, I do IG. I just use IG type to post like my work. Oh, well, you
Okay.
can find me on IG, Carlos Writes. I'm on there too. I just post my work.
So y'all can go over to at Carlos Writes, WRITES. You can see his if you don't want to search, if you don't know where you can find the link, even though I just told you it's going to be in the episode description, go to his IG and you will find it there.
Right there.
It's
All,
all there. And make sure y'all watch this and like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube and do the same for the podcast. Y'all, thank y'all so much for kicking it with me and my boo Carlos. Carlos will be back again. He is a correspondent and we will talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.